Welcome back to another episode of Ghostly Tales with May. I'm May, and today we'll explore a chilling story that has captivated many in Malaysia, as well as a personal account from Indonesia. This tale involves a woman, a headless ghost, and a mountain retreat. But first, I want to remind everyone in Malaysia and Indonesia and all our viewers to stay safe. Many of you might have heard of Malaysia's Genting Highlands, famous for its casinos and hotels, even the world's largest one. But behind all that glitz, there's a darker side. A legend of a ghost haunts this place, and it's one of Malaysia's most infamous tales. So, let's uncover what happened on that misty mountain road. The ghostly tale begins. This story follows a young couple, May and Chris, who had always dreamed of visiting Genting Highlands. The vibrant atmosphere and stunning views had captivated them through countless travel brochures. But until now, life had gotten in the way. After saving up for months, they finally decided to make their dream a reality. Chris was particularly excited to show May around the casino, as he had been there before and couldn't wait to share the experience with her. On the day of their trip, the couple packed their bags and drove up the winding roads to the Highlands. The air was crisp, and as they arrived, they were greeted by the dazzling lights of the casino. They had brought just enough cash to enjoy a fun night out, and their spirits were high. To their delight, luck seemed to be on their side in the beginning. Within the first few hours, they won a substantial amount of money at the blackjack and roulette tables. The thrill of victory surged through them as they celebrated their winnings with drinks and laughter. May felt as if they were on top of the world, and Chris couldn't help but feel proud of their good fortune. But as the night wore on, the couple's excitement led them to become overconfident. They decided to keep playing, convinced that their winning streak would continue. However, as the hours passed, their luck began to turn. They lost one hand after another, watching helplessly as their winnings vanished before their eyes. The fun night out quickly turned into a nightmare. In a desperate attempt to recoup their losses, Chris continued to gamble, pushing their luck even further. It wasn't long before they lost everything, including the money set aside for their hotel room. Feeling defeated, the couple left the casino, their spirits crushed. With no other options, they reluctantly set off in their car down the winding mountain road at 3 a.m. in the morning. The mood in the vehicle was heavy, the silence punctuated only by the sound of the tires crunching against the gravel road. Halfway down the mountain, disaster struck. The car sputtered and came to a stop, the gas gauge resting ominously on empty. Chris glanced at May, his expression filled with concern. "Stay here," he told her, determination in his voice. "I'll walk to the nearest gas station and come back with help." May nodded, trying to maintain her composure, but as Chris stepped out into the cool night, she felt an overwhelming sense of unease. Alone and tired, she soon drifted off to sleep, the events of the night swirling in her mind. When she woke up, however, panic set in. Chris still hadn't returned. As she sat there, her heart racing, she noticed something strange. Every car that passed by suddenly sped up as it approached her. A chill ran down her spine as she tried to convince herself it was just her imagination playing tricks on her. But then, without warning, the car began to jerk up and down violently, as if it were struggling against an unseen force. Terrified, she gripped the steering wheel, her knuckles turning white. Out of nowhere, a police car appeared, its lights flashing ominously in the darkness. Through a loudspeaker, an officer's voice echoed, instructing her to walk over to their vehicle without looking back. Terror coursed through her veins, but she obediently stepped out of the car, her heart pounding in her chest. As she walked, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. When she reached the police car, the officer offered her a reassuring smile, but all she could think about was Chris. "Where's my husband?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Don't worry, you're safe now," he replied, motioning for her to get in. As they drove away, she couldn't resist a quick glance back at her own car. What she saw froze her blood. A ghostly woman in white was perched on the roof, holding Chris's severed head, munching on it as if it were a grisly snack. The horror of that moment pierced through her, and she gasped, her mind struggling to comprehend what she had just witnessed. A week later, the news broke. The man who had disappeared in Genting had been found by the police, his body anyway. Shockingly, it was discovered intact, except for one horrifying detail. His head was missing, as if it had simply been removed, leaving the rest of his body in perfect condition. As the community mourned, rumors began to circulate. Locals and visitors speculated that it must have been an animal attack. But how could an animal have taken only the head, leaving no marks on the rest of the body? Some theorized it was an unnatural force, perhaps something from the spirit world. Whispers grew, painting a chilling image of what might have happened. People began to recall the legend of the head-eating ghost, a spirit known to haunt the Genting Highlands, preying on those who dared to trespass where they shouldn't. Some claimed the ghost had the power to disorient travelers, leading them off the trail before claiming their heads as her own. Here is another story that happens in Indonesia, a very interesting one. It happened years ago on a warm day in Indonesia. My brother, a group of friends, and I decided to spend the afternoon at the beach. It took us an hour to walk there by foot, but we didn't mind. We'd already planned to have the best time. The day went by smoothly, filled with laughter, sand, and sun. As the sun began to set, we decided to start heading back home. We were tired but content. Then, one of our friends suddenly said he wanted to stay behind for a little longer. We didn't think much of it and continued walking without him. But as we looked back one last time, I saw him standing there in the strangest pose, almost like he was getting ready to sprint, just like a horse gearing up for a race. Then, in an instant, he was gone, vanished without a trace. I looked around, baffled, but there was no sign of him anywhere. An hour later, after walking all the way back, we passed his house. To our surprise, his mother was there waiting for us with a puzzled look on her face. "Where have you all been? Why were you so slow?" she asked. "My son has been home for over an hour." My friends and I exchanged stunned glances, utterly confused. How could he have returned home so quickly when we had just left him at the beach? Years later, after we'd all grown up, I finally learned the truth. Apparently, a deity had chosen him as a helper. The deity was none other than Erlang Sheng, the famed god known for his immense powers and his third eye that sees beyond human sight. Today, my friend has built a temple dedicated to Erlang Sheng, where he continues to serve him. It's rumored that Erlang Sheng granted him abilities beyond human imagination, abilities that defy the logic of this world. To this day, whenever I visit his temple, I feel an otherworldly presence in the air, an energy that's both powerful and serene. My friend never speaks much about what happened that day, but the look in his eyes tells me he remembers every detail. Locals say that his abilities are a gift from Erlang Sheng, meant for protecting and helping those in need. People often come to him seeking guidance, and strangely, he seems to know exactly what troubles them before they even speak. I've even heard that he can sense danger before it happens, as if the god himself whispers warnings into his ear. That strange day on the beach now feels like a distant memory, but it was a sign, a glimpse into the incredible path his life would take. While the rest of us went on to lead ordinary lives, he was chosen, set apart for a purpose beyond anything we could understand. And every time I think back on that day, I wonder, did we witness something divine that only a few are meant to see? Or was it the first hint of a world hidden just beyond our own, one where gods and mortals walk a path together? If you enjoyed these stories, please like and subscribe. Your support means a lot and helps us create more engaging content for you.